India had reached the quarterfinals of World Team Championship and we were up against France. Now, France is a very strong team. As you can see in the picture above, they have MVL on top board. MVL is the current World Blitz champion, and also their other players are relatively solid 2650 players. Laura Fressinet, there is Tigran Gharamian, there is Jules Moussard. So it's a very strong team. So India, with its team of Vidit, Nihal, SL Narayanan, Shashi Kiran, who played on this day, took on the French team. And I have a few pictures that I can show you here. Let me just get to it. These are by Mark Livschitz. This one is India beginning against France. Vidit took on MVL. Nihal was against Jules Moussard. There's SL Narayanan there against Laura Fressinet. By the way, this is the start of the Blitz segment, so I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. But let's say before we get going, this was the quarterfinals pairing. China against Poland, Spain versus Azerbaijan, Ukraine versus Uzbekistan, and France versus India. So let's get it cracking. And first game that I want to show you, it was best of 2 matches. So all 4 players play. There'll be one match. The team which wins, great, they won the first match. Then the second match, same format will happen again. If the other team wins, it doesn't matter by what margin, then we'll have a tie break. Okay, so in the first one, Vidit was playing MVL and he played this very weird move here. Is generally you put your knight on f6 or you put your knight on c6, but he played d5. And I think this is something that Vidit had prepared at some point. We saw that there is an online game also that he has played with this. And in the end, Vidit got a decent position out of the opening. The next critical moment was reached here. What happened was MVL maybe has a very small edge perhaps, and he played the move f4. And he thought that, okay, if Vidit moves his bishop back, then he will play e4, he will have center control and a good position. But what was the move that MVL missed? Black to play. Try to think, what did Vidit play here? Very nice move. Yes, Vidit played the move bishop to f5, and this is very well timed, very nicely done. And all of a sudden you realize that if the queen takes here, then bishop takes c3, bishop takes c3, queen takes e3 check, and you lose the bishop and white is worse. So that's the reason why he played queen c1. E4 is a very complex variation, but I think everything works out. You take knight e4 here. And yeah, somehow black is unable to take care of, I mean, white is unable to sort of make things work here. Just for example, let's say if you were to take here fe5. Sorry, maybe you should start off with bishop e4 or first bishop d4 check, because knight e4 there is fe5 here. So you start off with bishop e4 and then knight takes e4, bishop b2, queen b2 and knight e4. This works well. So e4 was somehow not working. Even bishop d4 you can begin with, and after king h2 you can take on. Now knight e4 is a good move because the bishop is no longer hanging. But in the game he went queen c1, and now with it, you know, he took, put his bishop here, got the light square control, took on d1, and queen moved into f3 followed by knight e4. And you can see that black has complete control on the light squares, and Vidit actually managed to convert this pretty flawlessly. Yeah, he made no errors, and that gave India a very important win against very important win on the top board. Then we move on. On the second board, Nihal Sarin was so solid that he gave absolutely no chance. I mean, he kept pressing, but in the end the game ended in a draw. SL Narayanan was taking on Laura Fressinet, and we reached this position, and SL Narayanan is black, Fressinet is white, and it looked like around equal, but the way in which Narayanan outplayed his opponent from here is amazing. It's commendable. He first played e4, and I was thinking to myself, what is he trying to achieve with this move? But later I realized he was isolating the pawn on d5. Fe, Fe, rook c8 was played, which is not the best move. Now, all accurate moves. Rook a5, fantastic, attacking d5. He played rook takes f8, king takes f8. He gave a check, king e7, rook c7, king f6. Now you can take here, and he should have perhaps taken rook d5, and this position would have been roundabout even after knight f1. But he instead went knight b1, and this allowed Narayanan to not take the pawn, because that would allow knight c3 and white is having counterplay here. But he played the move rook b5 first, attacking this pawn. He went knight rook back. Now he took on d5. He went back, rook d2, king e5, rook d4, a3, and now the rook came in from here to attack this, rook c8, king f6, and rook c2. And he lost this a2 pawn, and Narayanan went on to win. So SL Narayanan showing some great chess in this tournament and managed to win another game. So with these two black wins on board 1 and board 3 and two draws on board 2 and 4, Shashi Kiran, by the way, was winning on board 4, but that ended in a draw. India took a 3-1 victory in the first match of this quarterfinals, and it was looking very, very interesting and exciting. And then we went to the second match, where we needed only 2 points because a draw was fine. And Vidit on top board, now playing against MVL. It was an equal position. Vidit had white and it was all equal, but here Vidit made an inexplicable blunder. He went queen b6. And I don't know what happened to him. Maybe it was some kind of a blindness or something, because queen b6, ab6, rook c1, knight c1, and now knight d7, and he is just simply losing this pawn. And he's also, opponent has two bishops. Maybe with its plan was that if you take here, I'll go knight c5, but MVL is in no hurry to take. He played bishop c3, then he brought the king in, and then he slowly rounded up this pawn and went on to win the game. So India lost one game there, and it was looking not so great anyway. And I think the two people who helped Team India win in the first match, match against France, were the ones who lost. SL Narayanan here, his opponent played this move f6, Laurent Fressinet, and SL Narayanan as white had a good chance here to take the advantage. So white to play, try to think, how does white take a very serious edge in this position? Yeah, the move here is bishop takes g6, takes, and the next move had to be found in conjunction to this, which is knight h4. And you are attacking the g6 pawn, and the pawn cannot move ahead because h5 is hanging. Let's say if you play queen e8, there are many ways to continue, but queen c2 looks strong. Also e takes f6 is strong, and white is clearly better. But instead he went knight b3, and now after a few moves, it so happened that black got a clear advantage. Knight is well placed, bishop is here, f file is open, the bishop is putting pressure here, and actually Fressinet converted this very well. Knight h4 and queen g6. g2 is soft, light squares are terribly weak, and then the bishop came here, the knight jumped in, and black managed to win this game quite easily, which meant that India once again slumped to a 3-1, like the score was once again 3-1. This time it was India losing. Boards number 2, Nihal and Shashi Kiran on board number 4 drew their games. So 3-1, and which meant that we were now going into a tie break. And the tie break system of this tournament is quite unique, and I would say quite interesting as well. You can see here, it is all 4 players have to play, and they take 3 minutes plus 2 seconds increment. If it's a 2-2 tie, they will play the same blitz match again, and it goes on till a winner is found. So here only change that was made was by the French team. They got Tigran Gharamian out from board 4 and got in Maxime Lagarde, I think, who is a very well-known blitz expert. And so off the match began. Shashi Kiran was playing really well in this game with the black pieces, and here if he had found the move knight d5, most likely the game would have ended in a draw after bishop d5, king d5, rook takes b7 and rook e2. e3 is falling, and the game would end in a draw. However, what Shashikiran did here was that he played rook f3, and this was a mistake because it allowed rook e7 check. Very important move. And the point is that if you go king d6, I can now take this. And after king takes, rook takes king d4, when the rook moves, you have rook b6 check. And either the knight falls or you go king e7 when I have rook e6 check, and it's trouble on this diagonal or the f6 knight. So that's the reason why here after rook e7, king f5 was played, and then after king d4, rook takes b7. Maxime Lagarde went on to win. Vidit, by the way, had made a very solid draw with MVL. In fact, it was Vidit who was pushing in that game, but he managed to hold. MVL managed to hold, and so the score was 1.5 half in French's favor right now. Actually, Vidit holding a draw against MVL was a good result because MVL is the current world Blitz champion as well. So we moved to this one. SL Narayanan was having kind of a drawish position here against Fressine. He took the pawn here on h7, check, king e3, and the rook moved behind, and everyone thought this might be a draw, like Narayanan will take here, Fressine will take here, and maybe this move, and we will draw a 3-3 endgame. But Narayanan had other plans. He played rook h8. Now it was important to go king f7, so that if h7 you can play a4, rook a8, rook takes h7, rook a7, king g8, and now you cannot take the rook here, because if you take the rook, then after king h7, black wins this game. How? King d3, you go king h6, very important move. Now king is coming in like this very quickly, f4, and you play f5, and anyway the king will come from this square and win material. So that's the reason why he must take here rook takes a4, and the game ends in a draw. But here came a huge blunder, and this was wrong at so many levels, g5. Because you see in that pawn endgame also the king no longer has this square available. So Narayanan found h7. Now he's threatening rook e8 check and queening. So the only move is king f7. Now came rook a8. Rook takes here. Question is what happens to king g7. I believe that after take and king h8 perhaps, or king g6, both possible. Let's say king g6. Rook takes a5, rook takes h7, and rook takes d5. White should win this with the rook sitting on f5, pawn pushing to d5, and the king coming in. This should be winning. But he went rook h7 here, and Narayanan found the next sequence of moves he took. It's very surprising that you can go into a pawn down pawn endgame and be pawn down for a few moves and yet win it, because you are entering from the other side. King b5, threatening king c5, king b6, and here Narayanan went on to win the d5 pawn and the game. It was a very important game. It leveled the scores, and then the atmosphere was looking something like this here. It was so tense. Look at this. It was like everyone standing around the board of Nihal Sarin, this Blitz genius who is taking on Jules Moussad, and epic game. Yeah, this was what Nihal played, was simply epic. Let's just have a look at that game, because there's a lot to discuss there. So Nihal with black pieces first played this slightly offbeat line, which actually Magnus has started playing a lot online, and he got a very good position. In fact, he got this nice knights jumping around the black king here, and after queen d1 here Nihal took good amount of time and first took on d5. Then now what's the move? Knight b2, brilliant move, check. Now with this knight, bishop and rook, you are attacking c3, so takes, bd2, in came queen c5. So now he is a piece down, but look at the king. Check, king b3, and this is totally winning actually. He played queen d5, but if he had started off with castles, then he would have won this game, because it's just, there is no way after rook c8 that this is going to survive, this is just lost. So he played queen d5 and let the king escape somehow. Nihal let this king escape. Even better was bishop c3, queen e5 and queen e3. When it's all tied up, the pieces cannot move. This is hanging. If you come here, there's a mate here, so all problems. But he went rook c3, knight f4, and he won a pawn. Now he won another pawn, so he's now 4 pawns for a piece, clearly better. But then the game moved on, and in this position where Nihal should have maybe played queen h1 check, king c2 and d5, maintaining all his pawns and good winning chances here for sure, he played the move queen f3, and from here Musard started to win all the pawns here. He took on a6, then he took on b4, and before you knew it, white was within the grasping distance of a draw. And if the game ended in a draw, then we would play another blitz match. But I think somewhere around here is when Nihal started to show his magic, because you see this position, there were check, 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 lot of checks, and then he played this move queen a7 with just like couple of seconds on the clock. What a move this was. Amazing. And Nihal is able to find such moves many times, like queen e3, king g7, king f6, which do not create too many threats but keep the position going. It's not at all easy to play such moves, without making a blunder. And then g5, g4, f4, f3, and queen came in. He took on c1, and now he went on to win this. And the final was like, here he made a queen. Musard had very little time. He wanted to take the queen. He wanted to play queen g7. He played queen g7, then took the queen, but he lost on time anyway. b7 would hang if you take the queen. And here Nihal had won, and so had India. And we move to the semi-finals. So what a brilliant win this was, and very exciting till the very end. I think this is the final moment which was captured by Mark Lifshitz, where Nihal is making a queen there, and you can see Laurent Fressinet looking here. And also towards the end, we had some very nice moments captured on stream, where Vidit comes and pats Nihal on his head and says, hugs him. He's like, Nihal, you did it for India, and stuff like that. And then the entire team was here. You have Shashi Kiran on the left, Abhijit Gupta, Nihal, Narayanan, Sethu, Vidit, and our team captain Vaibhav Suri here on the right. So India had a very good feeling. And now we will go to the semi-finals of this tournament. And even if we lose there, we will play for the third place. So we are there till the end of this tournament. But who is our next opponent? And a very important one, because China beat Poland and Spain beat Azerbaijan. So it's China, Spain, and India beat France. Uzbekistan just completely outplayed Ukraine. So it's India, Uzbekistan. And that is the semi-finals, and Uzbekistan is a very strong opponent. We actually played against them already and we lost to them in the preliminaries. They are the current Olympic champions as well. They won the Olympiad. Although Abdusattorov is not there in the team, yet they have a very formidable team in the form of Yakuboyev, Sindarov, Shamsiddin and Wakhidov here, all four. And they also have a very strong trainer, Ivan Sokolov, experienced trainer, who wants them to do well. So it's going to be very exciting. As for India, we have Vidit on board number 1, who is in great form. He's holding his own against the best in the world, showing that he is one of the best. We have SL Narayanan, who is just playing classy chess in this tournament. I think he's been one of the big reasons why India is doing well here. Fantastic player. Nihal Sarin, who is so solid. He has 6 draws out of 7 games and 1 loss in the normal games, but just when it mattered the most in Blitz, he came through and helped Team India win. Another nice picture of Nihal by Mark Lifshitz here. And on board 4, we have a question now. Should we play with Shashi Kiran? Should we go with Abhijit Gupta? Should we go with Sethu Raman? It's a tough choice to make for our team captain, Vaibhav Suri. Maybe he continues with Shashi, who actually played pretty well, or he changes that. We will wait and watch. For now, we are all gearing up for this amazing India versus Uzbekistan encounter that will happen today. I'll see you all with the live stream. Take care. And until then, also one small little thing, Vishy Anand is there. He's one of the live commentators, the official commentators. Please go and check him out on FIDE channel, doing some phenomenal commentary with Almira Skripchenko. They don't use engines, they just think on their own, which is just amazing. And Vishy also went to the parliament of Israel, and there he gave a blindfold simul, I think, against three opponents. As you can see there, he and Emil Sutovsky both thinking and giving that simul. So that's all from me now. Take care, guys. See you all. Bye bye.